Hi Virgo, welcome in to your monthly money and career tarot reading. This is going to be for February 2023. I do want to thank you so much for joining me for this reading, but as we proceed, do keep in mind this is general for your month, so just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And I do more than appreciate the love and support, the likes, the comments, and subscriptions to the channel if you haven't joined this Virgo tribe already. I feel like it's a very busy month for you, and I feel like you're doing a lot of speaking, a lot of bonding, accomplishing. It's just one thing to the next. I feel like it's a month to make a lot of money for oneself, but I also just feel like you're going to be impressing people left and right. But as you can see, bear with me as the messages are coming out already. We pre-pulled most of the cards that we're going to use for your reading. One small oracle, an overall tattoo tarot to speak upon your month and represent it as a whole, and 6 other tarot cards to give you a sense of how the month is meant to proceed and unravel for oneself. And then those 6 we will further clarify. But let's jump right into it. Successful career, absolutely beautiful. There was one other sign, if I remember correctly, that got this card. This talking about a happy working environment, pay rises or raises, and promotions. So there's a sense of you, whatever you decide or feel the need to or have to accomplish, whatever you wish to acquire, there's a sense of you getting it done. The job at hand will be accomplished if Virgo's there, if Virgo's wrapped up with it or just is expected to get it done. And a sense of you being able to easily manifest a new opportunity for oneself if you need a new job or want that expansion or new levels of success. But I feel like it's through the success that feels quite world-changing for oneself, with the World's card being your overall tarot. You're making money left and right, and it feels like Spirit's saying, good job, but are you feeling balanced through it all? Don't sweat the small stuff is what I'm getting. Don't feel as if you're slipping, interesting wording, due to the imperfections you're overly focusing on, or wanting somebody else to do it the way you know it should be done, or how you do it. I feel as if Spirit's saying the world-changing success and money flowing in needs to take a focus and take over your mind at certain points in a, it should be a simplistic manner, but I feel like it won't be. So you don't focus too much or at all on what's annoying or just not perfect at work and or at home. But to shift on forward, the first card to speak upon the beginning of your month, the King of Swords. So you begin the month of February, or make your way through this first chunk. There's a sense of people viewing you as a very wise, knowledgeable individual, somebody who at times is overly serious, right? But I have a job to do. I'm trying to clean up my finances, save more money. I'm trying to get the job done efficiently. So they're saying, so why don't you do the same? I feel as if you could be feeling quite judgmental to begin the month when it comes to other people you're working with, living with. It could be both. But it feels like you just are so motivated and just getting the job done well once again. But I feel as if there's going to be a couple moments in this first chunk of the month where you feel a bit out of it while getting things done, and Spirit's saying, are you moving too quickly? Are you trying to accomplish too much at once? It's good to multitask and needing to prioritize all the meanwhile, but they're saying at times it's going to benefit you to slow it down or just potentially delay something if need be, or if you can. But let's further clarify. They're saying you might feel a bit feisty at one point, or if not multiple, in this first chunk. Just take a deep breath, because I feel like you have a lot going on once again. The King of Pentacles and the Hermit. I'm not going to take this, but you're being reminded that you do lead the way for oneself at the very least, and for a lot drawn to the reading, other people. But I do sense that there's a vibe about this first chunk where you need to, okay, on one hand, don't compare what you have at hand to a past situation or multiple, and don't over glorify a past situation. But I also feel as if there's a need to be strategic as to who you associate oneself with. You might find the inclination to just keep to yourself at work and or at home, but I do feel as if this is also your vibe. So 2 Kings, you're naturally feeling in touch with, embracing your masculine side, male or female, but there's a sense of things paying off for you, the money flowing in once again in this first chunk, and you just feeling quite grounded at certain points, but then lacking that grounded way of being and feeling, whether it's due to how much you have going on, how overworked you feel, or just even for some, your stress or anxiety tapping in. Either way, however it works out for you, you need to just try to take a deep breath at certain points and just stay focused, but don't overdo it. Find the balance in all once again. But I do feel like underneath it all, you're feeling very motivated and being reminded where the ball lies in your court, where your control lies. You might find oneself at certain points in this throughout the month in general, I want to say, when you don't have control over, say, how somebody gets a job done or certain aspects of your living situation or that work situation, you'll find oneself being pushed to or just naturally finding other ways to gain that sense of control, right? Whether it's tidying up, whether it's organizing, right? Focusing on other aspects of what needs to be accomplished. I just feel like that's going to benefit you, but it might be a little bit frustrating as well. Moving on forward, we have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles, hard-working Virgo taking a highlight, horrible wording, in the middle of the first half. It's the sense of, again, you just do what you got to do when you have to do it. Please make sure, especially in the middle of the first half, do yourself a favor and don't, second guess, but give yourself plenty of time to get to work on time or to get to whatever it is for you on time. It could be a meeting of importance, whether it's an interview, another kind of meeting. I sense that this part of the month, traffic, public transportation, not going to be your best friend. So just give yourself plenty of time. Interesting random message. The Seven of Swords. Yeah, I feel like there's more than one person at work and or home. It could be just one person in general for you, where you do not feel comfortable around them, or you might just feel like they're not trustworthy. But I sense that you're also keeping to oneself in a strategic manner in regards to updating people or, holding back when it comes to what you're manifesting, okay, what you're mulling over, deciding to eventually leave when it comes to investments and or work. But I just feel like, it just feels like you're reading people quite accurately when working, when at home, out and about spending money, running errands. And it just feels like either way, again, the highlight should be, you're right, I feel the need to say, could be in more than one way, but the success that's coming to be that's world changing, that needs to be the highlight, all right? Again, don't sweat the small stuff. And don't let people ruin your work day or just your day in general, because it feels like people are annoying. I don't know why that's coming through. Okay, so some of you might be manifesting an ending. It might be you thinking about a past ending or something that ended and is meant to be re-sparked for oneself. Again, don't glorify the past, all right? It wasn't as great as you are thinking at certain points just because there's imperfections at hand, just saying, or you don't like who you work with. But the Three of Wands to shift on forward to the last part of the first half of the month. And so there's a sense of you thinking about the future. What don't you have, right? The ideal work situation. It could be something that's meant to, a seasonal job for some that's meant to come back into play. It could be more money for oneself. It could be a new financial investment like a car or a living situation, however it works for you. Or it could be a new expansion or a success for your business. And it could be more than one thing, but I do feel like you are thinking about the horizon, right? What's meant to come to be, what's meant to end. And Spirit's saying you need to simplify your Virgo mind to wrap up the first half, because the wheels are going to be turning, right, in your favor. But it's almost as if there's a chance for you to succeed more so, but you may just be so caught up in your head that you don't notice it, or you miss a detail that needs to be paid attention to, put to use, or just adjusted. Does that make sense? It feels like you just need to take oneself out of your head to wrap up the first half of the month so you can just do what you got to do even more efficiently, or just notice what you need to and succeed more. All right. It's a month that is definitely centering around you being an individual that's meant to succeed to the furthest extent. But I feel like you also being very well spoken and outspoken at certain points in the month. Be strategic. Trust your intuition in regards to when it's going to be more advantageous, beneficial for oneself to hold back, right? Whether it's feeling the need to be outspoken with an authority figure or a coworker, could be something of the sort, or just somebody you live with. At certain points, especially being highlighted to wrap up the first half, I don't think it's going to benefit you, right? Keep things more simplistic, or just think about the future, all right? Make the best until the best is also a vibe, the Eight of Wands. But it does feel like this is a very fast-paced part of the month. Making your way to wrap up this first half. Communicating is key, but again, strategically. And with those two doves, as you can see, there's a need for you on multiple levels to keep the hope alive, because I feel like, again, you can't help but notice the imperfections. But I feel like this is a month where you're meant to see the clouds clearing for oneself, but at certain points it feels a bit foggy in your vision, your expectations. All that's going on might leave you feeling that way in certain ways. Anyways, but I just feel like at certain points, even though you have a lot to accomplish still, even though you have a busy month unraveling for oneself, slowing down and taking a moment to gather oneself, to ask oneself, am I feeling good in this moment? That's going to benefit you, all right? But I do feel like as well, to wrap up the first half, you're going to be reminded self-care needs to be implemented, all right? Just because you have a heavy workload, just because you want to keep going, feeling quite motivated, doesn't mean you can neglect self-care. And I feel like some of you don't need that reminder, but others do. There's a sense of you getting your voice out there and just being honest with oneself, at times other people, being one of importance and valued, even if you can't fully see that or you don't sense that at all times. There's a feeling of justice coming to be to finish up the first half, because you're so hardworking, because you show up and you get the job done, or you just keep consistently producing, developing, right? And it's all playing into this overall world-changing success. I naturally know what I'm going to label this reading, but we're moving on to the beginning of the second half. Another world card, my friend, side by side. And so I feel like there's, with this imagery, bear with it, but I do feel as if there's a sense of vulnerability taking a highlight when you put yourself out there in the public eye or on social media, or you just take a hot second even to help somebody at work or through your business, or both. If that's paying off, even past efforts paying off in certain ways. There's a feeling of you being reminded to begin the second half, or at certain points, completion leads you to what's more meant to be, right? More success for oneself. You are being reminded at this point in the month as well, where you're at, you're meant to be, where you are living what you wrapped up with financially, even if it's not meant to last much longer, or in the long run, right? Where you're working, where you're meant to run your business. Things are very purposeful, all right? It feels like Spirit's working behind the scenes to see something come to an end to better your future, right? The comfort for oneself, or your finances, or to gain you more success, or it could be more so a new beginning for oneself on the horizon. Now, I do feel like for some of which this could be talking about a new beginning for you at this point in the month. But either way, this is mainly the part of the month. I feel like the month as a whole, but there's something about this part of the month that just feels world-changing success-wise. And they're asking you to ask oneself, are you happy while you're working? Are you happy when you're healing, when you're implementing self-care, when you're at home? And if not, what do we want to change, right? How do you change your approach or just your mindset? How do you want to see things switch up for oneself moving forward to feel happier? All right, that's truly important. Are you resting enough, right? But you're protected through it all, even if you can't feel that. What do we have for the World card? Yeah, there's part of you that's expecting the worst, all right? And that needs to stop. I feel a very forcefulness about Spirit to begin the second half of the month. Not sure why that's coming through. But the Strength card, it feels like there are certain parts of this beginning of the second half that lifts you up, bear with me, or makes you feel stronger through succeeding. It's the sense of you almost at times overworking oneself and feeling stronger through it all, but then feeling burnt out afterwards. Does that make sense? Or at certain points? But I do feel like you're being reminded through the blossoming of what you've been working towards, what you're working on, accomplishing. The possibilities are endless for you, all right? And I feel like you're being reminded through this ongoing success that's changing your world for the better. You are meant to live this financially comfortable future for oneself. Beautiful. And there are just, again, thoughts of upcoming wish fulfillments, changes, being pushed to potentially solidify in one's mind. Bear with me. What do you truly want? What's going to be perfect for you? And it's okay to remember at times, or to admit to oneself, what I once wanted, what once worked for me, may not be right for me at this point and moving forward, and in general for my future, right? It's okay to allow for one's wishes and goals, desires to continuously evolve, all right, as you grow and change as a soul. But the Four of Wands, to shift on forward to the middle of the second half of the month, this part of the month highlights the fact that things are falling into place for you, period, all right, period. But they're showing a snowball, interestingly enough, going down a hill and just growing gradually, right? Or even quickly for some drawn to the reading. And so it's this sense that you're being reminded at this point, as things grow and change and you thrive to certain extents through it all, something's growing nicely for you. Things are falling into place in a very growing, succeeding sort of manner. I hope that was worded correctly. The Four of Swords again, and the Four of Cups, interesting, but through it all, you're being reminded in regards to what came to an end in the past, what didn't work out even, what's meant to come to an end moving forward. You're being reminded what's not meant for you. And even I want to say on a smaller level, who's not meant for you when it comes to who to steer clear of, who not to trust at work. But I'm not going to take those. They're saying take justice. Beautiful. So it's the middle of the second half of the month where you're being pushed to recognize, highlight in one's mind and your focus the fact that you are receiving justice throughout this month. Again, hard work from the past and throughout this month paying off for oneself. But it feels like you need to notice that the scales are balancing out in your favor. There's also a sense of karma being highlighted at this point in the month for you individually, however that comes to be, right? Whether it's you seeing someone else in one, if not multiple situations, gaining positive or negative karma. It could be more in regards to you, but I do feel like, again, your hard work's paying off. There's a sense of you needing to, again, reground oneself, feeling very motivated, charging forth, but there may be this feeling that comes about at certain points, or one particular point in the middle of the second half where you just want to charge forth towards a new opportunity or more success. And it's like this vibe at certain points that in the middle of the second half where you almost have so much going on, or you just feel so motivated, where people seem to be getting in your way or just slowing you down. And Spirit's saying, are you feeling calm enough through it all, right? Because there's a focus on how quickly you want to move forward, but needing to trust divine timing through it all and reground oneself once again. But I also feel like there's points in this middle of the second half where you're noticing certain imperfections around you, and then Spirit's going to push you to look towards something more so perfect, or just more productive to be focusing on. All right. But I do feel like either way, there's also a focus on your confidence, your royalty sort of vibe. Even if you're not feeling ultra confident in the moment, you're coming off confident. You're feeling very in your power at certain points. And Spirit wants you to notice why that was, or why that is in that moment. And it will help you in moments of feeling less powerful or less strong, all right? Or even help you in moments of annoyance. But I also do feel like people are noticing you for how good looking you truly are in the middle of the second half for whatever reason, all right? And it might be tied into certain moments of vulnerability. But let's move on forward to the last card. Beautiful, the Six of Pentacles. The end of the month highlights abundance, all right? Abundance, tying into naturally stemming from this world-changing success. It's a month where Virgos are meant to move forward and see everything they desire come to be. Love it. Beautiful. So again, you might still be thinking about, or pushed to think about, what needs to be released. You could be overspending and that needs to be minimalized. But however it works for you, the end of the month highlights the fact that the wheel is turning in your favor and bringing you abundance all the meanwhile. It's the sense of some of you being gifted, donated, making more than expected, or just feeling quite comfortable, or more so gratified through the incoming money, even expected income for a lot. But I do feel like It's a month, once again, where as you wrap things up and you see the wheel turning in your favor and you're feeling very motivated to soar towards more for oneself, this is a month of, again, world changing success and money improvement. Beautiful. So I hope this was truly helpful. Sending you so much love and light. Go enjoy your month, and I'll see you next time.